Assembly Bill 130 by Assemblymember Cedillo, an act relating to student financial aid.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. Brings me great pride today in presenting a measure that's 10 years in the making. AB 130 is called the DREAM Act, and it's about supporting those who work hard, play by the rules, and want to improve the standards of living. Working hard to achieve one's dreams is a strong American philosophy, and it's the essence of the California dream. Each year, an estimated 24,000 young undocumented students prepare to graduate from a California high school. Most of them are brought to this country at a very young age by their parents and have been raised in the United States just as their U.S. citizen classmates. These children join their citizen friends in the community, in churches, in volunteer activities, and in high school graduations. These young scholars view themselves as Americans and are very loyal to our country. For most, the United States is the only country they know. Although many of these students were raised in California and are given residency tuition status, college is still financially unattainable for the majority of these low-income students who are ineligible to work because of their illegal status. The California DREAM Act would reduce the financial burden that AB 540 students face by allowing these students the ability to apply and receive financial aid in California. Specifically, AB 130 would allow students that meet the in-state tuition requirements to apply for and receive scholarships derived from non-state funds. I repeat, non-state funds. These are the state's most vulnerable students that have worked hard to exceed expectations. They've worked hard to achieve higher than average grade point averages and overcome many, many obstacles. These students, they're valedictorians, they're class presidents, they're all-star athletes. They're the future of California. Through their hard work and perseverance, these students have earned the opportunity to attend an institution of higher education. Their accomplishments should not be disregarded or their future jeopardized because of their legal status. This bill has no cost to the state, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion. Senator Dutton.
Yeah, Mr. President and members, I'm actually more concerned about another one that's going to be coming up after this, but I will address my concerns regarding this program. It's not that it's not that the students that we're talking about are not necessarily hardworking and so forth, but what's happened here. Let me tell you what's actually happening in practice right now as a result of AB 540, and this is linked to that, plus the other 130. See, my wife happens to be an instructor. She's a community college professor in career technical. And they've been having some problems with AB 540 application. You're going to have the same problem here. Here's what's happening. These young people that are signing up under these programs, see, they're not being given the full story. They don't realize that if you go into an X-ray technology program or something of that nature that requires some kind of a security clearance, that if you don't have your citizenship squared away before you graduate, you cannot get a license to practice in what you've been going to school for. See, that's what's not happening, and that's just doing an injustice to these young people. So while this is well intended, it's not complete, and there are problems with the way the system is currently being applied, and that's going to be the same thing that'll happen when we consider AB 131. That's the reason I would suggest a no vote on this. It's not fully cooked. It's not ready for prime time because it doesn't deal. These kids are going to be working hard. They're going to be going through the program, and they think that this somehow gives them an automatic right to citizenship because nobody is helping them obtain any kind of a legal status, which is going to be required in order to get the license after they've worked hard in their pursuit of education. So I would suggest a no vote at this time and go to work on fixing the problems with this program.
Is there further debate or discussion? Senator Vargas.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I have the honor of sitting on the Senate Education Committee. A young woman, a very courageous young woman, came and spoke about what I would recall and talk about 2 days in Mexicali. That is, this young lady, her mother went to Mexicali for 2 days, and this young girl was born there, and her mother abandoned her. So she was abandoned in Mexicali for 2 days. Her grandmother then came and picked her up, brought her back to the United States, and this young lady grew up here in the United States thinking that she was an American citizen, worked hard, played by all the rules, and I wish you could have been there to see. I wish she could be here to speak, because I certainly can't do justice to what she said. But she talked about all the hardships in her life, all the real injustices that she faced and faced courageously and overcame. And then she finally got to the stage where she gets to college, the type of child that anyone would be proud to call his or her daughter. And she bumps up against the issue that she finds out she's undocumented. That's an injustice. That's the kind of injustice that God looks down and says, there's something wrong with that. We have a chance to do something today. We ought to do it. I ask for your aye vote.
Further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing, Senator De Leon on this item.
Thank you, Mr. President, as well as members. I have the distinct honor and pleasure to rise in support of this measure being jockeyed by our Vice Chair of the Latino Caucus, Senator Ron Calderon, and a great friend and a great leader in our community here, the author of this measure, Senator Gil Cedillo. For the last few decades, I would say that when we discuss the topic of immigration, it has been very politically charged, without question. I respect my colleagues' civility today. In the past, it has been very polarized and polemic. Each of us, I think, are quite well aware on the Senate floor that in some form or fashion, how we got to this country was by the way of immigration. Everyone has a different timeline in their own history, whether it's Ireland, whether it's Germany, whether it's Mexico, Japan, China, wherever you come from on the face of this earth. We just have a different timeline, how we got to this country, which is the greatest on earth, no question about it. What confounds me sometimes is the standard for how we view immigration and how it appears to differ depending on whom we're talking about specifically and how far past we go with regards to immigration and when it occurred and how we got to the shores of this great country. I would say that some people, without a doubt, emphatically pledge to the red, white, and blue, but oftentimes see life through the prism of just black and white. It's a world of absolutes, and there's a lot more complexity to this issue. I think that some people demand that we export our brand of freedom around the world, yet recoil in horror at the thought of the import of people drawn to it. Many love to hold out the USA, our great country, and it is, again, the greatest on earth, as a model democracy, yet are confused when people risk their lives to become part of it. That adds a lot of the complexity to, again, to this very polarizing issue. Imagine, if you will, a young all-American girl. She's 9 years old, and she leads the Pledge of Allegiance in her class every single day. Then come July 4th, when we have our Independence Parade, she's at the head of the parade, twirling her baton, walking proudly with her head up, because she knows no other country. She knows no other Pledge of Allegiance. She knows no other loyalty. And again, that's what makes ours the greatest on the face of this earth. As Mr. Juan Vargas articulated, as well as Senator Ron Calderon, these individuals know no other country. This is their country, the land of the home, the brave, and the free. And they are proud Americans, although we understand, technically speaking, they don't possess a card that says, I am a citizen of the United States of America. When you see these young men and women, and I know a handful of them because where I grew up, obviously, in my neighborhood of Logan Heights in San Diego, as well as the area that I represent in Los Angeles, paint their faces red, white, and blue during the course of the independence, or proudly recite the 13 colonies and emphasize that Rhode Island, that was established by then King Charles II, to establish a territory free of religious persecution. When you hear a 9-year-old girl articulate that, it's quite amazing. And that's why this is, in my estimation, a very proud moment. I want to thank Senator Cedillo for his dogged determination and for his commitment to this very important issue. Mr. Calderon, thank you for leading the charge on the Senate side. And colleagues, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Further debate or discussion? Senator Correa on this item.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, I rise in strong support of this measure. You know, I represent Central Orange County, and many refer to Central Orange County, given the changes that we've had, as a new Ellis Island of the United States. In Central Orange County, we have immigrants from all over the world, folks coming to America to work hard, to earn a living, and to earn the American dream. And if you think about who we're talking about today under this measure, those students that will benefit from this measure are the folks that will help lead America in the next technological revolution, the next economic boom. These are kids, these are students eager to study, to work hard. So I say to you that this is nothing more than a common sense measure looking to benefit and to strengthen this great country. I ask for an aye vote.
Members, is there further debate or discussion on this item? Senator Ted Lieu.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. So recently we had royalty from England visit us in California, but in California we don't have royalty. And that's because in America we do not believe we should attribute to children what their parents' status is or what they may or may not have done. We judge children based on their individual merits. We do not raise you up, nor do we put you down based on your background or your parents or your bloodline. This bill and the subsequent one is rooted in the deepest of American traditions, one of individual self-determination, individual freedom, individual merit. Respectfully request an aye vote.
Senator Ahlquist.
Thank you. It is with pleasure that I rise to speak in support of AB 130. I had been a principal co-author of the original AB 540 legislation and chair of the Assembly Higher Education Committee at that time. The bill had been defeated the previous year. I was happy to lend my support as the daughter of an immigrant, a Greek immigrant. I'm not a Latina, although some in my district will say I have the heart of a Latina. And what I really want to say is, as the daughter of an immigrant and having two daughter-in-laws who are both immigrants, I believe America is a place that still ought to be welcoming all people, and that California has benefited from the immigrants who have come here. We are talking about our future. We are talking about these beautiful students who do very well in school and want to go and get a higher education degree. We're talking about non-state funds that will be used, particularly for AB 130. And it's imperative, if we want the California of our future to be what we hope it will be, it's important for us to support students who want to become educated and who want to contribute to this fine state. I urge your support.
Members, is there further debate or discussion on this item? Senator Steinberg.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. There are some measures that come to our floor that compel me as your leader to stand up and speak, and this is one of them, because this is fundamentally a civil rights bill. And while we have our partisan differences on many, many things, this bill should not be a party line bill. I know. And it may not be. I hope it is not. If you're for equal opportunity, you should vote for the DREAM Act. If you believe in higher education, you should vote for the DREAM Act. If you believe that we need more educated and trained people to enter our 21st century economy, you should vote for the DREAM Act. And if you dream that your children or grandchildren should have every opportunity to fulfill their God-given potential, then you must vote for the DREAM Act. The arc of history bends forward, not backwards. This should not be a party line vote. This is a bill about California, its great strength, and the opportunities that we speak of so often on this floor. I urge an aye vote.
Senator Calderon, you may close.
Thank you to all my colleagues for the debate, for all your support for this measure. Let's make the DREAM Act a reality. I ask for your aye vote.
Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. No. Berryhill. Blakesley. No. Calderon. Aye. Cannella. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. No. Emerson. Evans. Aye. Fuller. No. Gaines. No. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. No. Kehoe. Aye. LaMalfa. No. Leno. Aye. Ted Lieu. Aye. Carol Lieu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Rubio. Aye. Runner. Semidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. No. Vargas. Aye. Walters. No. Wolk. Wright. Aye. Wyland. No. Yee. Yee, aye.
Mr. Secretary, please call the absent members.
Berryhill. Emerson. Harmon. Runner. Wolk.
Mr. Secretary, please call the absent members. All right. Mr. Secretary, the floor manager, Senator Calderon, has asked that we move a call. We will move a call and place this item on call while we take up other business here in the Senate.